G'day again, you starters. When my kids were very small, they loved a movie called The Brave Little Toaster. Brave Little Toaster was a fanciful story set in a land where electrical appliances were animated and they could talk and have conversations. But of course, when a human being would come in their presence, they would freeze and pretend that they were inanimate and just normal appliances. In this story, there's a group of appliances that live in a cabin where a young boy spends his summers, and they are very happy in their relationships. But eventually one summer the little boy doesn't come to the cabin, and they begin to realize that he's not coming, and they've been abandoned, and they think that there must be some explanation for that, and so they decide to set out into the big bad world and see if they can find their master. And they set off, and they have one journey after another. They have one encounter after another, one near-death experience after another, and ultimately they are reunited with their master, who when the toaster near sacrifices his life in order to save the master. And they are then collected together and taken off to college with the boy who's now a young man, starting out in his life together, and everybody lives happily ever after. We love happily ever after stories, don't we? We love the idea that life could reach a point where everything's good, but it's rarely true. It doesn't often happen that way, and certainly my experience, as I'm sure is true of your experiences, even the times that you look forward to with anticipation, the good times, they pass, and it seems inevitable that troubles follow such great events. Happiness in those kinds of contexts is a fleeting experience, coming and going. But the truth is, real deep soul happiness is connected intimately to the experience of love. In fact, I would suggest that most happiness that we experience can be traced down to some understanding or impact of love at some point, some imagination of love, like in a story. What makes it a happily ever after story is the fact that everybody comes together in good relationships, and so love is intimately connected with happiness. So much so that when we know somebody that loves well, we can have confidence in the way they behave, the way that they will live out their lives, and the fact that watching that person will very often bring about an experience of happiness, and we can enjoy just simply being with that person. In the New Testament, there's a story, or at least it's a letter from Paul to a man by the name of Philemon. And the background story to the letter is that Philemon had a slave who escaped and came into the influence of Paul. He became a person of faith and became a very, very reliable friend and helper for Paul. But Paul knew Philemon, and he knew the quality of man that he was, and he had watched Philemon over in enough situations to know that Philemon was a person that loved well. So on the basis of that love, he encouraged the slave Onesimus to return to Philemon and pleaded with Philemon to treat him not as a slave but as a brother. Let me read to you some of the words surrounding this event. Paul says, "I pray that your partnership with us in the faith may be effective in deepening your understanding of every good thing that we share for the sake of Christ. Your love has given me great joy and encouragement because you, brother, have refreshed the hearts of the Lord's people. You have loved effectively, and that has brought me joy. Therefore, although in Christ I could be bold and order you to do what you ought to do, yet I prefer to appeal to you on the basis of love. Paul has a confidence. He recognizes that he's a man of authority, and people look up to him, and because of that authority, he could order certain things to happen. But he doesn't want to do that. He knows that love is so much greater a motivator and brings about much greater results than simply the expression of authority. And so he appeals to Philemon's heart of love because he has confidence, because it's seen it work. You know, when I think about that story and I think about our desires to be happy, I recognize that happiness comes when I love well and being with people that love well. I want to be one of those people that others choose to be around because of the way I love. And I think that that's the challenge that faces all of us. And in our relationship of faith with the God, the creator of the universe, his desire is to love. And in that relationship, as we become more and more like him, we are more and more able to love effectively and therefore bring joy. I hope that you have eyes to see love in action as you go out into the week ahead. Thanks for being with me today.